What happens when you finally stop cleaning up your siblings' messes, only to have them turn on you? For most of my adult life, I cleaned up after my younger sister Jane. I paid her rent, cleared her debts, and even lent her my car. But when she crashed it, she turned the blame on me and even had the audacity to involve the police. My parents sided with her, and that's when I decided to give them a gift they'd never forget. My name is Mark Carter, and this is the story of how I finally chose myself over family. Keep watching to see how this explosive family betrayal unfolds and how it changed my life forever. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. I paid my sister's rent, cleared her debts, and even let her borrow my car. But when she crashed it, she called the cops on me. My parents sided with her, so I gave them a gift they'll never forget. My name is Mark Carter, and I'm 32 years old. For most of my adult life, I've been cleaning up after my younger sister Jane. I've patched up her mistakes, paid off her bills, and stepped in every time she managed to mess something up, and she always did. Jane was 26 but acted like she was 16. She'd never held a steady job, never saved a penny, and took no responsibility for anything. Somehow, that had become my problem. Our parents, Daniel and Lisa Carter, had decided long ago that Jane was too delicate for the real world. Mom always said she was a free spirit who just needed time to figure things out. Dad simply refused to deal with her at all. So when she dropped out of college and moved back home, they made it my responsibility. Mark, you're older. You've always been the responsible one. Jane just needs a little help, that's all. She'll grow up soon. That little help turned into years of financial strain. I paid her rent when she couldn't make ends meet. I covered her credit card debt when she maxed it out on clothes and weekend trips. I paid her car insurance because she forgot. And each time I told myself, she's my sister, she'll get it together eventually. She never did. But this time, she'd gone too far. It started with a simple text as if nothing was wrong. Jane, hey, took your car for the weekend trip. You weren't using it, right? I stared at my phone, the words sinking in slowly. My car, the one I worked overtime for, the one I made monthly payments on. I called her immediately, my heart racing. What do you mean you took my car? My voice was tight with frustration. Jane sighed, like I was the one overreacting. Relax, Mike, it's just for the weekend. We're going up to the cabin, remember? I never said you could take my car. You weren't even home. What's the big deal? My jaw clenched. The big deal is that it's not yours. But before I could argue further, she hung up. At that moment, I should have gone straight to my parents, but I knew what they'd say. Mark, it's just a car. She's your sister. Why are you always so selfish? It's not like she stole it, she's just borrowing it. I let it go. I shouldn't have. The next call came at 2 a.m., shattering my sleep. Jane, sobbing. Mike, I got into an accident. I sat up so fast my head spun. Are you okay? I think so, but the car... She gasped. It's totaled. I barely heard the rest of what she said. Everything blurred. My car, my responsibility. She kept talking, her voice trembling. Mike, I need you to come here. The cops, they're being so unfair. Just tell them it's fine, okay? She wanted me to cover for her again. I took a slow breath, fingers tightening around my phone. No, I said. I won't. Silence, then an angry scoff. Are you serious, Mark? I'm your sister. I know, I said, my voice steady. And that's the problem. Jane went silent for a second, probably in shock that I had actually refused her. Then, just as I expected, the screaming started. Are you kidding me, Mark? She shrieked. You're really going to let your own sister deal with this alone after everything? Everything! Oh, I knew exactly what she meant by everything. Everything meant the years of bailing her out. Everything meant paying off her debts. Everything meant cleaning up the wreckage of every bad decision she had ever made. And yet, somehow, I was the bad guy. I took a deep breath, gripping the phone. You stole my car, Jess. You crashed it, and now instead of owning up to it, you want me to take the blame? Do you even hear yourself? She let out a bitter laugh. Oh, come on, Mark, it's just money. You can afford it. I'm the one who's hurt. Oh, there it was, the Jane special, twisting the story, making herself the victim. I could already hear what she'd tell our parents. Mark doesn't care about his own sister. I was in an accident and he just abandoned me. And knowing them, they'd believe her. I didn't care anymore. Call Mom and Dad, I said. Maybe they'll finally take some responsibility for you. I'm done. And then I hung up. The family betrayal. The next morning, I woke up to exactly what I expected. My parents blowing up my phone. Mom, Mark, what's wrong with you? Your sister could have died. Dad, we raised you better than this. You need to step up and help your family. Mom, the hospital bill is huge, Mark. She's your sister. I stared at the messages, feeling something I hadn't felt before. Not guilt, not frustration, just exhaustion. I ignored the texts. I ignored the calls. I ignored all of it until my dad showed up at my apartment. I opened the door, and there he stood, arms crossed, face tight with anger. Get dressed, he ordered. We're going to the hospital now. I almost laughed. No, we're not. Dad's eyes narrowed. Mark, you're acting like a selfish brat. Your sister needs you. I folded my arms. You mean she needs my money? He didn't even flinch. She's family, Mark. You don't just turn your back on family. I let out a slow breath. Funny how that only applies when it's me giving and Jane taking. Dad's jaw tightened. You're making this harder than it needs to be. No, Dad. You made this harder than it needed to be when you decided that Jane's life was my responsibility instead of yours. She's your daughter. Why don't you pay for her medical bills? We don't have that kind of money, he snapped. Ah, there it was. The real reason I was standing here having this conversation. I tilted my head. But I do, right? That's what this is about. It's always about money with you people. Dad's face turned red. Mark, this is your last chance. Either you help or you're out of this family. I laughed, a real, genuine laugh. Out of this family? I repeated. Dad, I was never in it. I was just the emergency cash fund you all guilted into keeping the house running. I stepped back and grabbed the door. Good luck with Jane, I said, looking him dead in the eyes, because I'm done. And with that, I shut the door in his face. 2 days of silence, not a single call, not a single text. I should have felt relieved. I was finally free. No more last-minute transfers to Jane's account. No more guilt trips from Mom. No more, Mark, be a good brother. But something felt off. Jane wasn't the type to go down quietly. And then, on the 3rd day, my world exploded. The police. Knock on my door. It was 7:00 a.m. when I heard the banging at my front door. Not knocking, banging. I yanked it open, still groggy, only to find 2 uniformed officers standing in my doorway. Mark Carter? One of them asked. My stomach dropped. Yes? The taller officer pulled out a notepad. We need to talk to you about a stolen vehicle report. My blood turned ice. Stolen? What? The officer's face remained unreadable. Your sister, Jane Carter, is claiming that you stole her car, crashed it, and abandoned her at the scene. For a second, I actually laughed. Excuse me? My car, the one I paid for, the one she took without asking? The officer didn't react. Do you have proof of ownership? I stared at him. Of course I had proof. The car was in my name. But that wasn't what rattled me. It was the sheer audacity of it. Jane had flipped the entire story, and my parents had backed her up. She also mentioned that you threatened her, the officer continued, glancing down at his notes, that after the accident you refused to help her, left her stranded, and told her she'd regret it. My hands clenched into fists. That's a complete lie! The officer glanced at his partner. Then you won't mind coming down to the station to clear things up. I could barely breathe. Jane hadn't just tried to guilt me this time. She had tried to destroy me. The interrogation at the police station. I was led into a small, cold room. The fluorescent lights hummed. The metal chair was uncomfortable, and I could feel my heart hammering in my chest. A different officer sat across from me, a file in his hands. Mark, let's start from the beginning, he said. Walk me through what happened that night. I told them everything. The stolen car, the crash, the 2 a.m. phone call, the way Jane had demanded I cover for her, the way my parents had taken her side. The officer nodded slowly, taking notes. "Do you have any evidence of this?" My fingers twitched. "Yes." I pulled out my phone, scrolling through my messages until I found Jane's original text, the one where she admitted to taking my car. I slid the phone across the table. "Read it." The officer picked it up. As his eyes moved across the screen, his eyebrows raised. I saw the moment he realized she was lying. Well, he murmured. "That's interesting." He left the room for a moment, and when he came back, he had a copy of Jane's statement. I almost laughed. It was so full of lies that it was almost pitiful. She claimed I'd taken the car while she was asleep, that I'd been drinking and crashed it, that I'd abandoned her on the side of the road and left her to handle the police. And then, at the bottom, I saw the worst part. Witnesses, Daniel and Lisa Carter, parents, confirming Jane's story. My own parents had signed a statement against me. Burn it all down. I leaned back in my chair, my heart racing, but I kept my voice chillingly calm. "Officer, I'd like to file my own report." The officer raised an eyebrow. "Against your sister?" "Yes." I took a deep breath, the words heavy on my tongue, and then I said what would change everything. "Jane Carter stole my vehicle. I never gave her permission. I want to press charges." The officer hesitated. "You're sure about this?" I had never been more certain in my life. "I want to file for grand theft auto." And just like that, the tables turned. The fallout. By the time I made it home, the fallout had already begun. My phone was blowing up with missed calls from my parents. "Mom, Mark, what did you do?" "Dad, drop this now. You're ruining Jane's life." "Mom, she's your sister. Family forgives." And then, the final message from Jane herself. "Jane, you're dead to me." I stared at the screen, my heart pounding in my chest. But then, a slow smile spread across my face. For the first time in my life, I finally felt free. I expected chaos, but not this fast. Before the police had even finished reviewing my stolen vehicle report, Jane had spiraled completely. She wasn't just facing a slap on the wrist, she was staring down felony charges. Grand theft auto wasn't a small thing, and neither was filing a false police report. But the real storm came when she lost the one thing that mattered most to her, her job. Jane's downfall begins. The call came the next morning. Not from Jane, not from my parents, but from her employer. "Mr. Carter, this is Dana Fields from Hamilton and Company." I blinked, confused. Jane worked for Hamilton and Company? Why were they calling me? "Yes?" I asked, my voice cautious. Dana cleared her throat. "We're calling regarding an ongoing investigation into an employee, Jane Carter. Your name came up in a police report, and we were hoping to verify some details." My heart skipped a beat, but I kept my tone even. "What details?" "Your sister listed you as a character witness for an internal review we're conducting. We just wanted to confirm if she was involved in any legal matters that might affect our case." I couldn't help it. I almost laughed. "Legal matters? You mean like stealing my car and filing a false report to get me arrested?" Dana went silent for a moment, then finally spoke, her voice softer. "I see. That's all we needed. Thank you, Mr. Carter." The line went dead. It took less than 3 hours for Jane to start calling. The breakdown. First call, 10:37 a.m. I ignored it. Second call, 10:42 a.m. Ignored again. Third call, 10:45 a.m. Jane's name flashed across my screen. This time she left a voicemail. I hesitated for a moment, then hit play. "Mark, I swear to God you ruined my life. What is wrong with you? They fired me. Do you hear me? They fired me. I hope you're happy, you absolute disaster." I deleted it before she could finish. Fourth call, 11:02 a.m. I answered. Jane, her voice was shaky, but not because she was sorry, because she was furious. "You need to fix this." I laughed. "Fix what? You mean the mess you made?" "I didn't make a mess," she shrieked. "I lost my job, Mark. My apartment isn't even paid off. How am I supposed to survive?" I took a deep breath. Not my problem. She went silent for a second, then the desperation kicked in. Mark, you know I didn't mean for things to go this far. You filed a false police report against me, but I was scared. And Mom and Dad, don't bring them into this. My voice was cold. You made this choice. You thought I'd just roll over like always. You thought I'd clean up your mess, but guess what, Jess? I'm not your safety net anymore. Silence. Then her voice changed, the fake sweetness, the same voice she used when she was trying to manipulate people. Mike, please, I need your help. I don't have anywhere else to go. Ah, there it was. She wanted money. Jane didn't care about the damage she'd done. She wasn't sorry. She was scared. Scared because for the first time I wasn't rushing to save her. I let the silence stretch, then slowly I said, "Welcome to reality, Jess." And I hung up. My parents' final plea. I knew my parents wouldn't let this go. By that evening, I heard a car pulling into my driveway. I sighed, here we go. I opened the door before they could knock. Mom and Dad stood there, arms crossed, expressions set in stone. I didn't even invite them in. What do you want? I asked. Mom's voice was sharp. You need to fix this, Mark! I crossed my arms. Fix what? Dad scowled. Your sister. She lost everything because of you. I laughed out loud. Because of me? Or because she lied to the police? Mom's eyes narrowed. She was desperate, Mark. She could have taken responsibility for once in her life. Oh, and you're so perfect, Mom snapped. You've never made mistakes? Not ones that got innocent people arrested? I shot back. Mom's lips pressed together. Mark, she's your sister. If you don't take her in, she'll be homeless. And there it was. They wanted me to let Jane move in. I looked them both in the eyes. No. Mom gasped like I'd slapped her. Mark, you didn't listen. To me, when I said I was done, you took her side. You called me selfish. You backed her lies. And now, you want me to open my home to her? Dad's voice was low. We're family, Mark. Family forgives. I exhaled slowly. Then I said the words that sealed my fate. Not this time. Then I shut the door in their faces. I heard Mom gasp, heard Dad mutter something under his breath, but I didn't care. I locked the door and walked away. Jane's rock bottom. 3 days later, I got the final message. Jane, I'm leaving town. You really ruined everything, you know that? You got what you wanted. Hope you can live with yourself. I sat there staring at the text. Did I feel guilty? No, because for the first time in my life, I had chosen myself. The final goodbye. Jane was gone. The family group chat had gone silent. No calls from my parents, no more guilt trips, no more messages demanding money, nothing. For the first time in years, I was truly alone. And yet, I felt empty. I should have felt relieved. After all, Jane was out of my life. The toxic cycle was broken. So why did I feel like I was standing in the ruins of a war? Maybe because deep down, I had always believed one day she'd change. Maybe because despite everything, there was still a small part of me that wanted to be her brother. I was still thinking about it when the knock came. A soft, hesitant knock. I frowned, checking my phone. No missed calls, no texts. I opened the door and froze. Jane stood there, but she wasn't the same. Her hair was a mess. Her clothes were wrinkled. The usual arrogance was gone. In its place was something else. Desperation. She looked like someone who had lost everything. For the first time in years, she looked genuinely afraid. Jane, I said, my voice cold. She swallowed hard. Mark, I have nowhere else to go. The last conversation. For a moment, I just stared at her. Years of resentment, anger, and exhaustion boiled beneath my skin. All the nights I spent working overtime to cover her bills, all the times she called me selfish while taking my money, all the times Mom and Dad said, "Be a good brother." And now, she was here begging. "Mark, please," she whispered. My jaw tightened. "You tried to get me arrested, Jess." She flinched. "I know." I exhaled slowly. You expect me to just forget that? Jane looked down. I don't expect anything. I have nothing left. I studied her. She wasn't lying. Her job gone, her apartment evicted, her friends nowhere to be seen. For the first time, Jane was truly alone. She let out a shaky breath. I don't need money. I don't need a place to stay. She hesitated, her voice cracking. I just need my brother back. And there it was. Not a demand, not a manipulation, just the raw truth. For the first time since this all started, she looked like my little sister again, and that scared me more than anything. Because deep down, I knew this was the moment I had to choose, the decision. I took a slow breath. All my life, I had been the safety net, the one who cleaned up the mess, and I knew that if I let her back in, even just this once, nothing would ever change. Jane needed to fall. She needed to hit rock bottom, because as long as she had someone to catch her, she would never learn. She must have seen the decision on my face because her eyes filled with panic. Mark, don't do this, she pleaded. I swear I'll change. I'll prove it to you. Just give me a chance. I exhaled sharply. I gave you 100 chances. Her face twisted. You're my brother. You're supposed to help me. There it was. That same entitlement, that same expectation that I would always be there. My hands clenched into fists. And what about you, Jess? What have you ever done for me? She blinked. What? What have you ever done for me? I stepped closer, my voice low but intense. You took my car. You ruined it. Tried to have me arrested, lied to our parents, and now when you have nowhere else to turn, you show up and expect me to forgive you? Her lips quivered as she fought back tears. Mark, I thought we were family. I stared at her, taking in the words carefully. After a long silence, I said, A family doesn't do what you did to me. She gasped, her breath shaky as if my words had physically struck her. I shook my head, the anger from years of betrayal finally subsiding into something else. I hope you find your way, Jess, I really do, but I can't be part of your life anymore. Her breath hitched, and I saw the desperation in her eyes. Mark, please. I didn't answer. Goodbye, Jess. And for the final time, I shut the door behind me. Epilogue, a new beginning. 2 months later, I packed up my life and moved to a new city, started a new job, and began living for me. There were no calls from my parents, no messages from Jane, and for the first time, I felt peace. I didn't miss them, because I was finally living my life, free from the guilt and toxicity they had weighed me down with. Some nights I would think about her, wonder if she was okay, but then I'd remember all the years I had spent sacrificing myself for someone who could never appreciate it, and I reminded myself that this was the only way she would ever learn. I wasn't angry anymore, and I wasn't bitter. I was free, and I didn't look back. Final update. I cut off my toxic sister and family. Here's how it ended. Hey everyone, it's been a while. A lot of you asked for an update after I cut off my sister, so here it is. Short version. Jane is gone, my parents won't speak to me, and I've never felt better. But, wow, the reactions to my story have been incredible. Some of you fully supported my decision, while others think I'm a cold-hearted monster. So, let's dive into it. To those who supported me, I really appreciate all the love and encouragement. Many of you shared your own stories about cutting off toxic family members, and it honestly made me feel less alone. Setting boundaries is never easy, especially when you're raised to believe it means sacrifice. But at some point, you have to ask yourself, sacrifice for who, and at what cost? Jane had years to change. She had every chance to take responsibility for her actions, but instead, she doubled down, lied, and tried to ruin my life. Choosing myself wasn't selfish, it was necessary. The peace I feel now is something I never thought I'd have. To those who think I went too far, I hear you. I know cutting off family is a big deal, and I didn't take it lightly. Some of you think I should have forgiven Jane, helped her get back on her feet, or at least tried to repair things with my parents. But my question is, why is the burden always on me? Why should I be the one to fix things when I wasn't the one who broke them? Why should I forgive someone who not only stole from me, but tried to ruin my life with a false police report? Why should I keep giving chances when every single one was thrown back in my face? At some point, enough is enough. And I reached that point. Where things stand now, Jane is out of my life. Last I heard, she was bouncing between friends' houses, eventually disappearing from social media. My parents are still angry, and they haven't spoken to me since I refused to let her back in. I'm happier than I've ever been. New job, new city, and no more guilt. So, what do you think? Who was right? Those who supported my decision, or those who think I should have handled it differently? I'd love to hear your thoughts. What would you do if, after years of sacrificing for someone, they suddenly turned on you, blaming you for everything that went wrong? That's exactly what happened to me with my sister Jane. After years of bailing her out, I had finally said enough. But now, as I reflect on it, I wonder, did I make the right choice? Or did I let my frustration cloud my judgment? When I cut Jane off, I thought I was freeing myself from years of manipulation and guilt. I had always been the one who picked up the pieces, but she never learned. Every time I stepped in, she just took more, never appreciating it. And yet, when I finally stood up for myself, my family turned on me. My parents sided with her, and for a moment, I doubted myself. But when the police came knocking at my door, telling me Jane had flipped the story, claiming I stole my own car, that's when it hit me. This wasn't just about me and her anymore. This was about setting boundaries, something I had neglected for far too long. For the first time in my life, I chose me. I pressed charges and the tables finally turned. Now, looking back, I feel relief. Sure, I lost my family in the process, but I gained something I had been missing for so long, peace. Jane never changed, but I did. I no longer feel like the one responsible for everyone else's mistakes. My life is my own, free of the toxic cycle they tried to pull me back into. Do you think I did the right thing? Would you have walked away or kept trying to fix what was broken? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you've ever had to set boundaries with a toxic family member, I'd love to hear your story.